Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Thursday, the 18th of January, 2024. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1. It was another down day on the S&P ASX 200. It finished 0.6% lower at 7,347 points. Fears of interest rates not falling as fast as expected weighed on the property companies in particular. Among the large caps, BHP, CSL, Goodman, Transurban and Santos, that's an eclectic bunch, they're all sold off. Rio and Fortescue outperformed, while Commonwealth Bank, National Australia Bank and ANZ all ended in the black. Liontown Resources was the worst of the top 200, down 10% after the global lithium giant Albemarle, which lost a $6.6 billion takeover battle for Liontown last year, said it was selling out its 4% stake. More generally, the miners were sold alongside the real estate investment trusts. In economic news today, Bureau of Statistics figures show that the unemployment rate was steady at 3.9% last month, notwithstanding the loss of 65,000 jobs. How's that happen? Well, fewer people were looking for work. Story number 2, convenience retailing is setting Ampol up for record earnings this financial year, even though refinery margins aren't so great. Today, Ampol said consistently strong performance in its convenience retailing business in Australia and an improved result at its Z Energy business in New Zealand are the reasons that earnings should be at a record level this financial year. The fuels and infrastructure business, excluding the Lytton refinery in Queensland, also performed strongly. At Lytton, earnings and fuel volumes were hit by an unexpected outage at the plant back in December, although it has since returned to normal operations. Ampol's share price hit a record earlier this month, but analysts are worried about refinery profit margins, and today the stock closed down 2.5%. Story number 3, there's plenty of friction at Australia's ports at the moment, and today Employment Minister Tony Burke ramped up criticism of operator DP World, saying he has no intention of giving the stevedore preferential treatment by intervening in its pay dispute with the Maritime Union of Australia. Mr Burke met with DP World and the Maritime Union at his request, and he said he made it very clear that he expected the parties to reach an agreement on their own. The minister was unimpressed that the foreign-owned stevedore wanted to rely on ministerial intervention. Mr Burke criticised the company for spending money on a media campaign that could have been invested in negotiations. And just before we leave politics, Acting Defence Minister Pat Conroy has formally responded to Ukraine, declining the request for Australia to donate its retired fleet of MRH-90 helicopters because it's no longer feasible to return the aircraft to an operational state. Story number 4, American lithium giant Albemarle has cut back on its Aussie strategy in a blow to Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's plans to foster more domestic processing of critical and battery minerals. Albemarle has put on the back burner plans to build a 4th lithium hydroxide processing train at Kemerton in Western Australia, 8 months after announcing it would go ahead with plans to double Kemerton capacity from 2 trains to 4. According to the Financial Review, it adds to the woes of the critical minerals sector, which in the past month has suffered hundreds of job cuts and mine curtailments at Ravensthorpe Nickel, Panoramic Nickel and Core Lithium's mines in the Northern Territory. Today, BHP signalled it may add to those losses, warning its Western Australian nickel business is not immune to the pressures vexing the industry and cost-saving measures are under consideration. And finally, story number 5, Beijing won't resort to huge stimulus to revive growth amid the worst bout of deflation in that economy in decades. The news came out at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. That affects many economies, including Australia, because China is such a big player. Not a lot going on in oil, gold or crypto markets over the past 24 hours or so. While the Aussie dollar has lost further ground, it's trading around 65.5 US cents. That's it for the afternoon report for Thursday, the 18th of January, 2024. Don't forget to hit follow on the podcast and find Fear and Greed on LinkedIn, Instagram, X and Facebook. Join Michael Thompson and I tomorrow morning for the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed, the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.